Welcome back. We're going to talk about pedal boards today because I have finished mine. A lot of people, when I say this, they go, oh, but you're probably going to want to put some more pedals on that and then it's not finished, so what are you talking about? That's a fair point. However, I actually want to call my pedal board finished. And to be fair, there is one thing that I want to swap out, but it's legitimately just a tuner, so that doesn't really count to me. It also needs a power supply. It could also do with a prettier pedal board and a prettier box to carry it around in, because currently both of those are homemade because I spent too much money on pedals. I can't afford the rest of the stuff. But in terms of effects, I'm done. And the reason for that is I had a really clear idea of what I wanted to be able to sound like with this pedal board when I paired it up with the guitar that I'm going to be using most of the time and the amp that I'm going to be using most of the time. And the reason for that is I've been thinking a lot more about old music and why we like it so much. And I think one of the reasons that it's so distinctive and timeless, people used to have more of a sonic identity. I want to have that. I want to have a sonic identity. What I mean by that is two things. One, I'd love it if people heard my music that I've made with my band and go, ah, yep, that's Richard with the rooms. It sounds like what he sounds like. And the other reason I want is because I actually want to impose limits on myself as to what effects and what sounds I'm going to use when I write stuff, because I think that brings forth more creativity when you're limited. I think one of the big problems with music today is we have too many options and we all end up doing the same kind of things because we can. So if I say I'm only using this guitar, I'm only using this amp, I'm only using these 5 pedals to make all the sounds, I can make a lot of sounds, but nonetheless there's limitations, and that's what I want to do. Anyway, let's start going through these pedals. First thing in the chain is this. It's a Behringer tuner. We don't have to talk about it, but at any rate, I'm going to take this opportunity to just play a little bit so you can hear what this thing sounds like with nothing plugged in. So that's what my thing sounds like. Now we're going to start messing with it. This is a Fairfield circuitry shallow water, except not exactly that one because I got the special edition one because I can't say no to that. It's kind of hard to describe what this pedal does. I'm just going to demonstrate it in the way that I use it, which is kind of like a randomized chorus. I love randomization and effects. I think it's really fun, but at the same time, it's not something you can do too much of in a band context, I feel, because it's just too chaotic. The best way to hear this is I'm just actually going to strum one chord and you'll hear what it does to the signal. It kind of randomly choruses it. Gives you this lovely tape warble kind of effect, which I just think is fantastic. I'll play some stuff now, but it's quite subtle the way I want to use it. If I twiddle a couple knobs, I can give you some extreme versions of it and it's going to sound a bit more crazy. Here's a crazy version. Like, that's a bit much potentially, and I just want it to be a pretty mellow, wobbly chorus effect. It's not too in your face, but nonetheless, it kind of gives a little bit of extra dimension to a thing. So let's play some stuff. So next thing in the chain is this Electr Harmonics Nano Qron. It's an envelope filter. You can think of it as like an automatic wah pedal. That's basically how I use it. It's really fun for adding a bit more movement to things that might otherwise be quite static. For example, if you had a riff like this. That's nice, but it's maybe a little bit boring sometimes. What we want to do is give it a bit more life. So we're going to click on the Qron and it's going to sound like this now. So, you get the idea. It's the quack pedal. You got to be careful with it. I don't want to overuse it because it gets pretty obnoxious pretty fast. But there's some riffs like this one that we've been working on recently, which it just absolutely brings to life. So, next in the chain is this thing. This is the Brown Amplification Protein. I've got version 3.0. I did a lot of searching for the right drive. I just kept wanting this. So we've got 2 channels. First channel is just like a nice, gentle edge of breakup type overdrive. Here's a little bit of that one. Then we've also got the second channel, which is much more distorted but still quite clear, which I really like. last part about this is we can turn them both on where the first distortion feeds into the second distortion and you get a nice boosted version of that second sound, which I really like. If I've got to play a solo, this is usually what I'll kick on to cut through. Moving on, the next pedal, I actually made a video just talking about this one pedal a few weeks back. Go check that out if you want me to go a bit more in depth. It's Ibanez Echo Shifter. It's a delay. I really love a delay, and this one's just nice and simple. I really like it. I think it sounds really good. Let's play a little bit. Nothing too crazy with that one, but I think it sounds gorgeous. The modulation gives me life. It's a really cool pedal. I really like it. Last one in the chain, probably the most out the gate of the bunch. Maybe not. The shallow water's pretty crazy. This is the Walrus Audio Fable. It's a soundscape generator. Basically, it's a pile of delay pedals crammed into one pedal. It's really cool. It's better if I just play it. I'll use it sort of like a really exaggerated reverb if I really want to fill out a section of a song. I just really want everything to turn washy and lush. Kick this thing on. Mission accomplished. Usually I have it set pretty tame, just that kind of vibe, just to, yeah, flesh everything out a bit more depth to the sound, a bit more space in the mix. So yeah, that's a quick little summary of my pedal board. Those are all the sounds I want to be able to use. Anything other than that, it's not on the table. And as I mentioned before, I love setting up these sort of parameters for myself so that when I write music, it's not just anything goes. It's like, okay, here's the box that I have to fit in. It's not just a random box that's enclosing me. It's a box that I've chosen to say that this is what I want to sound like. Things that aren't this, I'm not interested. And the other really cool thing is I can basically turn on all of these at once and it's going to sound pretty cool. So I'm going to do that to end this video. I'm not going to turn on the Qron because it gets a bit too hectic, but I'm going to turn on both of the delays, the shallow water for the chorus, and maybe just the heavier one of the distortion, not the light distortion. And that's what you're hearing. Hope you enjoyed this one, and maybe it's been helpful for you to put a pedal board of your own together. I hope it has, because you don't need a billion things. I think you just need a few carefully chosen bits of gear where you can say, this is who I am when I play guitar. See you next time.